Don't just ride the index, seek to outperform it with Fidelity Active ETFs. Learn more at fidelity.com/active ETFs. Before investing in any exchange-traded fund, you should consider its investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Contact Fidelity for a prospectus, an offering circular, or if available, a summary prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully. While active ETFs offer the potential to outperform an index, these products may more significantly trail an index as compared with passive ETFs. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Have you heard? Sling TV offers the news you love for less. Hey, wait. You look and sound just like me. I am you. I'm the same news programs on Sling TV for less. You mean you're me, but for less money. A lot less. I'm all the favorite news programs and more on Sling TV starting at just $40 a month. Everything great about me, but for less money? Which makes me greater, don't you think? Get the news you love and more for less. Start saving today. Visit sling.com to see your offer. Sling.
Welcome.
Are there any exciting things? I know this isn't TwitchCon 2024, but are there any exciting things on the roadmap for Twitch in 2024 that you might be able to tease at?
Well, there's nothing that I'm ready to talk about here that I haven't talked about at all. But I can talk about some of the stuff we've talked about, right? And cool. I think there are lots of people who will be listening to this who would not have heard about some of the things we've talked about. Okay, so it will be, to them, it will be news. In fact, to many of them, it will be.
All right, welcome one and welcome all to another banger AFK podcast interview, and stop, drop, and roll, because today we have none other than the Twitch Don himself. It's space exploring, ivory tickling, vocal ripping man, myth, and CEO legend himself, Dan Clancy. Before ruling the Twitch empire, Dan's celestial voyage took him through NASA, where he orchestrated groundbreaking missions in intelligence systems and nanotechnology. His ascent to Twitch began in 2019 as VP of Creator and Community Experience. In March 2023, Dan ascended the throne as Twitch CEO, where he continues to lead with an iron fist, crushing his foes in his wake. But Dan is not your average CEO. He's a streaming savant, a van-traveling maestro, serenading his audience and building bridges with top-tier streamers. From crafting melodies on streams to fostering personal connections, Dan's redefining Twitch leadership. So without further ado, let's all welcome Dan Clancy. Dan, welcome to the show, dude.
Wow, Tyler. So that's quite an intro, and I want to meet this dude. Whoever you just described, I'm like, I want to meet him.
You got a mirror around it?
Yeah, okay. And you gave quite an intro, and I'm thinking this whole, entertaining thing, maybe you have a future in it, Tyler.
It's all about the people around you, man. My good buddy Cam here writes up these dynamite bomb intros, and they're always just super fun. So, but thank you for being here, man.
It's great to be here. It's great to be here, Tyler. Dude. I'll just say it's. I will quickly give mine. You are obviously you're a legend in the streaming community and has been foundational for Twitch. It was great meeting you, whatever that was a year ago, a few months ago. Your accomplishments are impressive and you're unique in the field. And so I consider it an honor to be on your podcast. Thanks for having me.
Wouldn't have it any other way, Dan. And yeah, dude, that dinner is crazy. You jokingly just said that a year ago or a couple months ago. Didn't it feel like that was forever ago?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but time, it's slipping so much quicker than normal. I feel like it's just kind of like it's already February, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It literally felt like just yesterday, I was doing Ninja New Year's in Dallas.
Yeah.
And now here we are, man. But dude, speaking of that dinner, let's dive into that a little bit, because obviously it was a personal dinner. It wasn't streamed. That all stems from, okay, real quick, actually, let me just kind of back up a little bit. Are you still traveling around, doing meet and greets and meeting up with streamers and just kind of getting there, doing those dinners? Or are you kind of is that on pause right now?
No, I'm still doing it whenever I can. It's interesting. They've evolved now where, and in fact, I have some road trips planned, which you can ask me about later. But I go to a lot of events, going to the Streamer Awards, and I always, spend a lot of time with streamers. I've made enough connections now that they've evolved, because sometimes it's moved from, a dinner with the group to now I plan an IRL stream because we've already met, we've already hung out.
Yeah.
And so it's but it continues. It's really one of the things I enjoy the most, about the role that I have.
Okay, so talking about that, I think that one of the most interesting things. So for those of you who don't know, by the way, everyone, Dan, obviously new CEO of Twitch. I feel like personally, you've been doing an incredible job as that. Starting off with this being one of the really cool things that I think any CEO of Twitch could have ever done. I don't think you get enough. I don't know if you'll ever, I look back and I want people to think of like the Ninja Stream, like streaming legacy, or like what I've left behind. I want you to know that I feel like, I hope that what you did and what you're doing with this whole traveling thing and everything that you've done since you've become the CEO, like people look back at that and they're like, this is exactly what needed to be done for the website at the time.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that thing about like streaming or doing something with streaming and traveling and IRL stuff, whatever. And I said, like, is that something that like the CEO of Twitch should do or something like that? The CEO should do. And then you responded like, that's exactly what the Twitch CEO would do, or something. Like, I don't remember exactly what I was referring to, but when you said that, I was like, this is just absolutely correct, man. Because when you look at Twitch yes, it's a business, but like it's so much more than that. And I think it needed someone like you with a personality, someone like you that kind of like understands where it came from to really just connect again with the streamers, because that's where it all started from.
Well, actually, what I had said, and I've said many times, and streamers say, yeah, that's right, is really for most UGC platforms, like the creators on TikTok, they don't care who the CEO of TikTok is. The creators of YouTube, they know who Neil Mohan is, but they don't care that much about it. Twitch is very different, and that's grounded in Twitch being a community, and the community that's created on the platform also exists across creators, where it's unique from any other UGC platform. And I think that's why it matters for me to be out there and for me to be using the platform, because Twitch is really different than any of the other platforms in terms of the intimacy, in terms of the community, and people feeling like I get it and I'm engaging with them makes a huge difference to them.
I agree. I mean, I agree completely. I absolutely love the idea of just traveling around, meeting with as many streamers as possible, and getting out there, man. Dude. Okay, I want to talk about. By the way, all of this that we're gonna discuss, like, if there's anything that you feel uncomfortable talking with, by the way, like we can cancel it out.
I'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, because there's just obviously so much going on, and I feel like the only way to talk about all the stuff at Twitch is to talk about things that we've literally, been coming up recently in the news. And one of them being, I think it was Twitch in Korea. Obviously that has like, can you like expand on that a little bit more? And like, from my understanding, it's unfortunately just like it's a Korea issue, right? It's a South Korea issue. It's not a Twitch issue. It's not like you guys are saying,
Yeah, it's unique to Korea, and Korea. The cost of streaming there is 10 times what it is in any of the other developed markets that we stream in. I won't go into all the technical reasons for why Korea is different, unless you want me to go into that. I think for most people, that's not the most interesting thing.
I mean, dude, I almost kind of do, actually.
Okay, I will.
I would love to. So is it them charging you guys more for the servers to be up there for them to stream, or is it like a data upload internet issue with like?
Yeah, I will describe it as simple as possible for people so that they'll understand it. Everybody here pays an ISP, right? You pay somebody so that you get internet coming to your house. You pay AT&T. We have to pay to get the bits to like AT&T, and then whoever you're getting your internet from, they get the bits to you because you pay for internet. Now. You do also pay for internet in Korea, but the way it works in Korea, we also need to pay for the cost of getting the bits all the way to the house. Okay, and that we need to pay the ISPs for whatever it costs. Okay, and that's true with if we're serving from within Korea. That's true for Netflix. It's true for YouTube. That's true for any service. And those rates are determined. There are a small number of ISPs in Korea. And you have to pay for that. That ends up being, because of the rates they charge, a significant fee, which is why we're not the first person to run into this challenge. Facebook stopped serving from Korea. Netflix did too. Now, the difference in how we did it and how they did it, they both started serving from outside of Korea, which degraded their service. Okay. However, their services are not foundational in terms of an interactive experience like our services. And the reality is, if we serve from outside of Korea, the live experience would be meaningfully degraded and for some users would be unwatchable. What that would do is really just slowly bleed Korea, okay? And also it's unclear if it is allowed to stream from outside. Like the companies in Korea took action against the companies that decided to stream outside of Korea. And I think in all the other cases, they eventually settled something. They came to an agreement. But they said, no, you can't do it. So that's not a resolved issue. But the key thing that we said was, look, like we already had reduced the video quality. We could have done other things to limit the number of bits going in Korea. But the fundamental problem is that actually, in the long run, if we started to try and make it so Korea didn't work, for the streamers in Korea, they would have just been slowly bled because we would have lost viewership, right? They would have lost, and they wouldn't have left because they would still, in fact, we saw that. We lost almost no traffic when we reduced our bandwidth from 1080. We stopped serving 1080p. We thought we would lose 20 or 30% of hours watched. We didn't. Korea kept growing, okay? It's a testament to the strength of Twitch's platform in terms of the communities that are built. Right. And we realized that this would just slowly bleed the community and people wouldn't leave, okay, because we still would have this, but the service would just not be anywhere close to what it should be. And we made the decision that given the dependence that our creators have, and of course it's a very tough decision, slowly having the service just get worse and worse, okay, where it wasn't really watchable, and then people would stop watching their streamer because they're getting a wheel all the time, and then they would just do other stuff. Those streamers wouldn't do the effort to move their communities to another platform before it was too late, before they had already lost.
They would have tried to have
viewers.
Stayed on Twitch until literally a Titanic, if you will, right?
Yes, yes.
Until it's too late, they can't even. There's no one left to move over to. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like the lower the quality, if it had to go even lower than 720 to go down to 480, and you have to lower.
And we're serving from outside the country, so now latency goes up. So now chat is 20 seconds behind.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, then it's not even a live stream. I know, dude. As a competitive gamer who's had to stream tournaments and stream competitive matches where people can stream snipe and I know about delay, adding a stream delay. And it's for tournaments and for safety and for production, sure. But for a live streaming experience, even 30 seconds can feel completely. It almost feels like a VOD. Yes. As a streamer, as me, not even someone watching, but someone donates 50 gifted or 25 gifted in the chat, and then a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, you're like, oh, thank you for the gifted. It's like the person might have not even known that the stream was delayed and left and been like, wow, what an asshole. This person didn't even thank me for. And if you're, or whatever.
If you're a 200 ACCV streamer like myself, I often ask chat questions. I'm like, hey, should I do X or Y? Right? Mm-hmm. And you see what chat says and you interact with them. If I do that and it's 20 seconds until I get an answer, then of course I stop doing that. I just you
stop doing that. You stop what you're doing in the game, and now there's 20 seconds of nothing going on while you're just sitting there reading chat and waiting for it to catch up. So no, the experience is obviously it would be awful. That's super unfortunate. And Chris, just they don't care, right? They have no desire to change the way that they deliver the data.
Yeah,
right?
the reality is it is working in Korea now, and Twitch is not going to change that because it is working for these other, we're a small player in terms of data delivery. Maybe it'll change, right? But it wasn't changing soon. And the problem we had was as Twitch in Korea grew, which it was doing, we lost more money. And in fact, when you run a business, you want to look at what's your variable cost of providing the service. And you want to make sure as you grow, your business gets better.
Okay? Right. Technically, it should be cheaper almost. You should be making more money.
Right. Yeah. That helps you. And we were like, oh, bad news.
Bad news, guys. The bigger we get.
Right. The bigger we get, it exceeds expectations. And the only place we get that money is from streamers outside of Korea, right? Because that's where we get all of our money. And so that's been something that I've been very clear about in making these tough decisions, because ultimately we would, our success depends upon streamers being able to sustain this lifestyle and sustain streaming. And that takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of time. And so we've been working saying, listen, we have to manage our costs. And to the extent I can put more money in streamers' pockets, that's what I should be doing, because I shouldn't be taking from one to give to another. I should be making sure we have a sustainable platform that we can keep growing.
Man, that is honestly, man, just a horrible position to be in if you are a streamer in South Korea. It's out of their control. It's a government issue, right? Where they're just not going to change the way that the data is being delivered. And I could kind of, this is a little bit of a stretch of an analogy, but it's kind of like Australia for that just being, it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's like short end of the stick, dude. Like back in the day when competitive gaming was very small and there was no actual way to make a living, but it was like coming up like 10, 15 years ago, I would say 15 years ago, like when Halo 2 and Halo 3 was, there was the MLG, the Major League Gaming. But if you lived in Australia, even if you had to have won every single Major League Gaming tournament from the start to finish into Worlds, which is like, $100K first place, which you're splitting with 4 people for this to be a full-time job. Now, imagine if you were an Australian and you had the flight alone was $2,500. It's like you just drew, but you loved Halo and you wanted to compete. It's like you just drew the shit out of the stick that you're born literally in the worst possible, continent to be a competitive gamer at that time. But hopefully, obviously that changes for South Korea.
AFK with Ninja.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. In fact, Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/podcast free. All lowercase, shopify.com/podcast free, shopify.com/podcast free.
Super unfortunate, man. Moving on to talk to us a bit about how you see recent changes shifting the trajectory of Twitch. So on top of that, Twitch not being profitable, obviously South Korea being one of the biggest issues, or not one of the biggest issues, but a very big issue of bleeding money. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Do you think you guys are like starting to get on the right track?
First of all, I want to say one thing about that a lot of people will take that and they go, oh my gosh, this is not unusual for tech companies. I think Uber, the first time they were profitable was in Q2 of this past year. And Uber is a massive company, right? I was at YouTube back in 2012. They were not profitable. And I don't think they became profitable till 2016, 2017. Okay. And YouTube was freaking huge.
Yeah.
YouTube back then was bigger than Twitch is now by far. Okay. Back in 2014. Because you feel like it's really about, do you want to continue to invest, right? Are you bullish on this product, in this service? And the reality is we are bullish, okay? And so we are continuing to invest. The most important thing is making sure that as you continue to grow, that your business works, meaning that as you get bigger, your variable costs are more than your fixed costs. And so you really have to think through all the details of your business and say, yes, as we grow, this business works, right? And a good example is the Korea business didn't work because as you grow, you lose more money. And that's one reason what we've been doing is trying to set ourselves up to where we're the right size as an organization so that our business works. And our business works. When we become profitable, I know we will. It's not a question anymore. I'm very bullish on the business. In fact, I think there's a ton of upside. Part of what I need to do is plan how we spend money based upon where we're at now and where we'll be at in the near future, not on an idea I have of where we might be in 5 years, right? Because that's running a business. And this isn't just about Twitch. Pretty much all of tech has started doing this. This is why you see this across tech, where other places are rethinking how they run their business. Startups are rethinking how they run their business. I think this was just something that tech had gone through this period, and Twitch was no different than many other tech platforms. So, but I feel very bullish on where we're at right now.
I mean, first off, that's great to hear.
I can add on from that question.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, because you asked a complex question that had many pieces. One was about profitability, and I wanted to get that out of the way. But the other was about some of the changes we made, right?
Yeah.
Which, let's talk about the changes we made, because ultimately to streamers, I think that those are the ones that matter more. Like, it's our business to run the company profitably. It's your business to figure out how can we keep making Twitch better for streamers. So, of course, one of the big changes, which, of course, you're very aware of, because it's one thing I told you about when we were having dinner and then we announced it at TwitchCon, was moving away from this model that had previously existed in live streaming of exclusivity, prohibition on multicasting or simulcasting, okay? In general, I feel like, and just for those people that may not be all the details of Twitch, it used to be that if you were a partner, you could not stream on other platforms, and you were prohibited from streaming on other platforms. Then also, since you couldn't stream on other platforms, you could not stream on two platforms at the same time. We eliminated that requirement of partners, some like 6 to 8 months ago. And then it was 2 to 3 months ago that we eliminated the limitation on being able to stream on two platforms at once. And for those that are listening to this, like, oh, what does that mean? And this is something that Tyler does. He streams on Twitch, he streams on YouTube, he streams on, Instagram. I don't know the exact platforms, TikTok, he streams all over the place, right? The reality is, I think that we were trying to hold on to something. Okay. And in fact, I think that was the wrong attitude for making live streaming going. And in fact, Tyler is actually an example of one of these, part of this challenge, because in fact, when you went to Mixer, we were like, oh my gosh, right? We can't let this, continue to happen. Okay. As opposed to saying, no, we feel pretty good about our position. Right? And in fact, if we didn't have exclusivity, then you may have never left for Mixer. In other words, you may have done a non-exclusive, but we had exclusivity. So you had to make this decision. Am I on Twitch or am I on Mixer? And we forced you to make that decision. And we forced you to leave Twitch because of the policy, right? And Twitch was where you, that was your home.
Yeah.
And Twitch is a community. And so it was like, you weren't just leaving the platform. You were in some sense leaving this community which was foundational in your life. Most of your friends were Twitch streamers, right? Yeah. And so I strongly believe that where we're at now, I mean, they don't have these types of restrictions on YouTube, right? In other words, you can post on any platform. This is absolutely the place that we should be in terms of believing that the pie is still too small. I feel very strong about our position. I think simulcasting will help expose more viewers to live streaming. And I think if there's a challenge in live streaming, it's that I think the potential audience for people watching live streaming is much bigger than the people that spend time doing it today. And our job is to grow the pie.
I could not agree more. I think that through this journey of multicasting for the last, I don't even know how long I've been doing it now. I feel like I'm on my way towards 2 years. But yeah, no, I noticed that, we talked about this at dinner as well, where Twitch obviously has in terms of the product for live streaming and delivering the live streaming experience and the community that Twitch has to offer, I don't think that there's another live streaming platform that even comes close to it. I think, and I think there's so many reasons for that, but I think that the number one most important reason, I think it has a story behind it, right? Like YouTube and live streaming, to me, dude, it will never be I don't know. For me, there's no passion for YouTube live streaming. It feels like you are alone, right? I've been doing it for almost 2 years now, And yeah, you're alone. You're like, it's your community. That's it. No one else. There's no such thing. And truly, there's no such thing as a YouTube community. And it's like, there's a ninja community on YouTube, right? But like, and then there's Twitch, dude. And Twitch, man, there's hosting, there's rating, there's the category section is flawless, and people, I feel like people link up more with other streamers on Twitch, like, and play together more. And then there's like, you can even multicast now, where multiple people can, like, I don't know how you do it. It's like a viewing party, if you will.
Right. Stream together is what we call it. Stream together.
Stream together. Like, again, and just like I'll call it like the lore of Twitch, dude, like the kappa and all the, the memes and the emotes and the, like, just like the emote spamming. And I feel like it all came from just, it built up over the last 10 years. And when I'm streaming and I'm multicasting, dude, I honestly find that more people will come over to Twitch, and especially when I'm multicasting on TikTok, right? Like I have TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, and people, they enjoy. I'm like, hey, they're like, hey, this TikTok chat, it's not, I don't like it, but they come over to Twitch, like, dude, this is way better over here. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, man, it's a great viewing experience.
I mean, with TikTok, it's basically what you have is a free ad running on TikTok saying I'm live now. Because you might post a picture on Instagram or something, hey, I'm live now, but that goes wherever. No, you want a live ad on TikTok that says, I'm live now, and some people will just watch it on TikTok. But a lot of your community may already know Ninja. They may watch you. They may not know you're live right now, and then they're swiping through TikTok, and they go, oh, Ninja's live right now. Well, why don't I go over to Twitch and watch him?
Yep. And it's just so much easier too. It's easier to find streams. Like on YouTube, you have to do like /live, and the usernames are different. I don't know. I think that when it comes to discoverability and the product of Twitch, I think we've talked about this. There's no one really close right now in terms of the viewing experience, which is great. So I think you guys made I think you guys made the right decision. And I'm just so happy that it happened. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and contact me throughout the last couple of years and talk to me about, multicasting, et cetera. And I was just like, in a perfect world, that Twitch you guys will eventually lift it and see that there's no reason not to. And a lot of people, I think, are getting into multicasting, which is just great because, again, I do think it's just going to grow. Eventually, people will just land at Twitch. So I think that's genius of you and the people behind that idea.
And I'll say this for the streamers listening. Of course, I'm not an expert on when it's good and when it's bad, because the answer is it's not always the right thing. I think for someone of your size, it clearly is a good thing because you have a large following, okay? And as it is, when you're streaming, it's very different than when I'm streaming and I have 200 to 500 ACCV because
absolutely,
you have a massive audience. Your ability to pick out people, it's just very different, right? When you're smaller, there's something about that intimacy of engaging with chat. And I don't know, for example, if it would be beneficial for someone like of my size, which would be 200 to 300 ACCV, to be on YouTube. I think it is clearly beneficial to be on TikTok because I think the two platforms are different. With YouTube, I do think like YouTube kind of fits between Twitch and TikTok, where TikTok, it's just people flying by. YouTube, you have some people staying. And so ignoring chat there. But I think TikTok, like I think it's, and I've had a lot of streamers tell me like, yeah, when I stream on TikTok, I get an extra 50 or 100 ACCV, viewers
on Twitch. Yeah. No, I think you're, Dan. You honestly, this is our second time ever having a conversation. It always impresses me how just aware you are, man, and intelligent you are about that. I completely agree that multicasting, especially when it comes to YouTube and Twitch, it's not for everybody. If you're a smaller streamer, it should be Twitch and TikTok, or Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram, because you can bring people over to Twitch and they won't feel alienated. But if you're a small community already and you're splitting up between two major platforms like Twitch and YouTube, it could come off like a little just right. a weird taste. You nailed it. Are there any exciting things? I know this isn't TwitchCon 2024, but are there any exciting things on the roadmap for Twitch in 2024 that you might be able to tease at? Well,
there's nothing that I'm ready to talk about here that I haven't talked about at all. But I can talk about some of the stuff we've talked about, right? And cool. I think there are lots of people who will be listening to this who would not have heard about some of the things we've talked about. Okay, so it will be, to them, it will be news. In fact, to many of them, it will be. One thing we're doing is trying to update our mobile app. We actually have an experiment that's live now for 5% of users, where we have an extra tab with an immersive feed where you open it and you're in live content right away. how people like to engage with content on their mobile phone is evolved in the last 4 years.
Definitely.
Our mobile interface has not really changed much, and it was really kind of a port from the web interface, which is much more of a browse experience, like look at a bunch of channels. The reality is, looking at a thumbnail, it's really hard to figure out if I want to watch it now because, you don't know what that creator's doing right now, okay? But you watch a stream for 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 7 seconds, there's so much information about what is Ninja doing right now. Okay, maybe I like your streams when you're just chatting or when you're doing this or when you're playing that, and I figure out what is he doing right now. And so that's because an immersive experience, which of course is everybody's used to that. Like you open an app, you open it, and there's content right away. And so, and on one screen you can get to live content, you can get to clips, you can get to who you follow. So I think that will really help people that are coming to Twitch on the mobile app, and in particular, it'll help people discover possibly new streamers too, because sometimes, mobile sessions are much shorter than desktop sessions. And sometimes you're interested in exploring more when you got 20 minutes and you kind of like the idea of like what cool is happening right now, as opposed to here's the streamer I always go to. I'm going to go there and hang for 2 hours. I'm very excited to get to where eventually that's the default experience, where you open the app, you see content right away. You see people live right away.
Yeah, let me check it out. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've updated my Twitch app several times, man. The amount of times I try to open my Twitch app, I finally sifted the person that I want to find, and I click on the stream, and then it just crashes.
Oh, really?
Like, it's weird. Like instantly, and then I'll go back in, and then it won't crash for a long time, and it's weird. But like, to what you said, I think that's genius, right? I think that almost everyone has a phone, right? Everyone has a smartphone. So in terms of you want to talk about reaching a new audience and improving the mobile app is definitely. Definitely the route to go, especially the instantly going into the live content. I think that's genius as well. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm excited, man. Like I feel like the Twitch mobile app really hasn't had any drastic changes for quite some time, and I think that in terms of the ever decreasing attention span that is the human population and the I want it now. No, I think it's a great idea to kind of just jump right into live action or just a live stream. And then another thing that you mentioned, which is just so true, by the way, I don't think I've experimented more with like looking at new streamers on the mobile app now, like than I have when I'm actually on my desktop, which is like you nailed that too. I find myself like if I'm in bed and I'm like, dude, I want to watch, I'm 100% gonna watch Twitch. I want to watch a stream. I'm about to go to bed. I only want about 20-30 minutes, and I'll just start scrolling, which I almost never do when I'm on my desktop. So.
Yeah.
Again, just constantly impress me with. I feel like you just nail things, which is really exciting.
Let me go to one other feature because I think there are two that I'll mention.
Hell yeah, dude.
The other one is the one that you mentioned that we already have out, but we have a long way to go for it. So I want to describe the vision, and that is stream together. Okay. One of the best ways to grow is through collaboration. I've said this many times. One of the biggest challenges streamers have is discovery. And the reason for that is because we drive people to the channel page as opposed to having them on a feed of everybody else's stuff, right? Like TikTok will have. Anyone who uses Twitch, I say, how much time do you spend on our discovery surfaces? And they go, well, almost never. I'm usually on someone's channel page. The best way is to collaborate. And also, it creates interesting content. And you and I haven't done it yet, but one of these days I will. And I think it needs to be impromptu. So something I've done, one time I dropped in on T-Pain and we started streaming together, and then we went and got SVON TV, we got Will Neff, we've got Wake Wilder, and next thing you know, the six of us were hanging out for like 2 hours just shooting the shit, okay? And a ton of people said, wow, that was one of the best streams. And right now, you have to plan all these collaborations, right?
Which, by the way, is my least favorite thing to do in the world.
Yes. And all you have to go back to, but by the way, wasn't the Drake thing impromptu?
Well, it was supposed to be planned, and then it ended up becoming impromptu. It wasn't planned like, hey, man, we should do something huge. It was literally like, he messaged me, was like, yo, man, we should run. I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds like, let's go. When do you want to do it? He's like, Tuesday or Wednesday or some shit. And I was like, bet, I'll see you then. Fast forward to the day came. He hit me up like last minute, and I was teasing that there was a special stream, but, I wasn't saying who it was with. And then he messaged me and was just like, hey man, I'm late at the studio, can't play. I'm like, dude, it's all good. Just let me know. Fast forward Thursday. We'll do it Thursday night, Friday night. Same thing. Hey man, working late. Can't make it. I'm like, all good, dude. Just let me know. And then I remember like I didn't hear anything for a couple of days, and then just it was Wednesday night. I had already streamed like 18 hours, like because this is when I was grinding,
Yep.
and I got off. It was like 6 o'clock, which for me again, I was up since like 3 a.m. I'm like laying on my couch, passed like really about to pass out. Check my phone, and he sends me a message, and he's like, yo, I'm on. Let's go. Like, I don't like that's it. Not like, hey, how about tomorrow? Hey, maybe in an hour. It was like, hey, I'm on. Let's go. I went downstairs, just turned on the stream, and it was his hands down one of the most iconic streams ever.
Yeah. So that's an example. You said like coordinating and all that, like, but making it impromptu. I mean, when I drop it on streams, like they love it, and it's good content, right? It's interesting. And so Stream Together is an idea to make it so that it's basically you create a video conference. And right now we need to just keep making it simpler so you can go ring the doorbell. It pops up in chat. They go, oh, Dan's knocking on the door. Chat, should we answer it? Yeah, let's answer it.
Oh, that's actually genius.
And then you can get 6 people. Because what happens whenever I've done it, we have like 4 or 5 of us, and then we're looking and we're adding people. We're saying, oh, so ping so-and-so, right? And it became a thing. And so we have it live right now. It just isn't, we just need to make it simpler. And so we have a lot of stuff that we're doing to keep making it simpler.
Oh man, that's sick. I mean, yeah, and that's great, by the way, because I mean, I don't know where the disconnect is with me. I missed that completely. I don't know if it was because I was like multicasting and I wasn't in.
No. I didn't do it because I realized with you, I probably do need to plan it, right? You've got a lot of stuff going on.
I'm also on pretty early. I feel like you're a night owl, dude.
I am. Well, I'm on the West Coast, but so it is the fact that often you are not, like T-Pain is always on when I'm streaming, but it is the fact that usually you aren't streaming when I'm streaming just because I'm on the Pacific, on the West Coast. Yes, I will actually send you a note of the simple thing you need to do in OBS.
Okay.
So I don't have to explain it when I drop in. Okay. Then at some point what I do is I just go into chat. And as soon as I go into chat, usually everybody, you won't necessarily see it, but everybody says, DJ Clancy, the CEO. Okay. And we'll do it sometime when you're just chatting.
I'm gonna get a little personal here, I guess. As someone who's streamed for like the last 10, I don't even freaking know how long I've been streaming, like 11, 12 years. It's been a long time. Like right now, and this happens all the time. I go through like little weird funks and stuff like that. But like right now, like the state of Fortnite and where it's at, and like I'm getting older, 32 years old. I can't necessarily sit and grind, competitive battle royales for 6 hours straight and keep my sanity. I think I don't know. I might have to start like delving into maybe some reaction, just chatting like segments to because I want to stream. I wake up and I'm like, dude, let's go. I can't wait to stream. Turn the stream on, talking to chat, having a great time. I instantly get into the gameplay because obviously I'm a huge gamer. I love gaming. But Fortnite right now is just kind of stale, and there's some really cool games out there.
What you could also do? Dude. Actually, you know what? And by the way, we in a month or 2, we're going to have the features out to make this simpler. The other thing you can do sometimes, it's just fun content, is for you, there are tons of people you could just drop in on that said, today, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in and drop in on people playing. And as opposed to you needing to be playing Fortnite all the time, you drop in on someone who's streaming. When they're playing Fortnite or anything, it is the highlight of their stream, even for a big streamer, right? Even for someone that's 1,000 ACCV. And you can just, I do that sometimes with the bigger streamers. I'll hang out for an hour, but I'll go on like, 50 ACCV streamers, 100 AC, and they're like, oh my gosh, it like makes their day. And you can do that for 3 hours. You can say, what am I going to do for today's stream? I'm just going to drop in on folks.
That's actually genius, man. I go in and do like channel points betting and be on my channel and be like, what do we think, guys? I think this person's going to win the game.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. In fact, Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/podcast free. All lowercase, shopify.com/podcast free, shopify.com/podcast free.
Dude, talk to me about the NASA to Twitch switch, dude. Tell me about the journey of working at NASA. Maybe share some interests and passions for space.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, so, I got my PhD in AI. I got out and I knew I didn't want to go to university, but I wasn't quite, that was a different time. Like if I came out with a PhD in AI now, I'd be working for one of the companies that does all sorts of cool shit in AI. But at the time, that was sort of really early in AI. And the cool stuff going on was more at these research places like NASA, okay? So I went to NASA because I was like, oh, this is a great place to do research. By the time I got there, I quickly realized what I was good at research. I was technically really smart, but what I was really good was at leading teams of other people. And so I was within about 2 years of showing up at NASA as a fresh out PhD student, I was managing 200 people. And I had a blast at NASA. It was a lot of fun. We got to work on we worked on a lot of technology for the Mars rover because we were a research institute. So we were doing the sort of stuff that would be used in 10 or 15 years. We did a lot of AI and robotics, that eventually would appear on the Mars rover. Got to be on this panel, which George Bush put together of planning out what it would take to get to Mars. I was the kind of AI computer science person, and that was planning out a 30-year roadmap to get back to Mars. But I had a great time, but eventually I was like, I enjoy space, but I didn't go to college for space. I wasn't that's the only thing I want to do. And I realized, look, this isn't what I want for my whole career. And so I decided I was going to leave NASA. I was doing quite well there. Of course, I also wasn't getting paid as well in private industry, so that's probably another factor. And then I went over to Google. So I went from NASA to Google. We were right next door to each other. This was fairly early on in Google's journey. It was a great place to be at that point. Did a bunch of stuff at Google, including I ran product and engineering at YouTube. Eventually, I decided I didn't want to spend my whole career at Google, and I went to a startup next door. So I did for 5 years. And then I came to Twitch. And I'll say this is the biggest thing that I've learned in my career, which is it's interesting. I think we could talk about this in terms of some of the challenges that I know you're always thinking about, which is new challenges are fun. And, that's one of the challenges for streamers sometimes is it's look, I'm loving this, but I want something new. And, you see, I stayed, and even when I was at Google, I would change areas every 3-ish years, right? I was 2 to 3 years at YouTube, 2 to 3 years on Google Books, and I was constantly getting new challenges, right? It challenged me. It caused me to grow. It caused me to think differently. And I always encourage people to always look for new challenges, and Twitch is like a perfect home.
Yeah, man. Is that kind of basically saying that Twitch has a bunch of challenges, which dude, it definitely does.
No, live streaming does. It's not Twitch. It's Tyler. Right. That was you've always been. That's one reason you do this podcast, right? Because it's look, you're at the top of the hill of live streaming, right? You've been there. You've been at the very top. So what is it? What is Tyler doing when he's 45? What is Tyler doing when he's 55?
Hopefully I make it.
Yeah.
You never know, dude. But and even now with streaming too, like I think I'm, getting into different things or different aspects of streaming might keep things a little bit fresh for me, because right now it's a little stale. Just sitting there playing Fortnite for, hours and hours and hours on end, which by the way, I love. And Fortnite's evolving and they're doing, Lego Fortnite and racing. And God knows where the heck the game is going to be in, even 1 year from now, 2 years from now. They do such a great job with the landscape of that game. But yeah, I mean, that's honestly, that's fascinating. I love how you just summarized, some of the most interesting jobs that anyone could have worked with in literally a matter of like 5 minutes. I think that's astonishing. And honestly, again, I think I'm so happy that you're here. But you're dude, you talk about this. You're traveling all over the place. You're streaming. You got the Dan's van. How do you personally balance being CEO of Twitch and still streaming, and honestly being good at it and having fun doing it?
That's one thing that people often don't appreciate, that it is the fact that being good at streaming takes a certain amount of natural aptitude, right? Mm-hmm. There's part of who you are that you just were, right? And then it also takes hard work, especially as you're trying to grow and grind and keep growing your audience, right? Luckily, I don't have to because I'm not trying to get to 5,000 ACCV. I'm not trying to, right? And, I can go and hang out with other big streamers and have a blast, right? That, somebody at my size of a stream wouldn't be able to, because I'm CEO. So I don't have to do the grind that you have to do, and that all of our streamers have to do. And I'm very aware of that. So that is one way I'm able to juggle it all, is I can stream once or twice a week and still have a community. And that's because I'm CEO. Most streamers, I'm very aware of that. And the thing that makes it work for me is it's fun. And, that's what I always tell folks when they're starting out. I say, look, you have to keep at it. And if it's not fun, you can't do it. And so for me, it's like when I can't stream because we've got a big issue coming up, and I'm like, oh, I know I'm working on this. I miss it. And I love when I do an IRL stream, when I go on someone else's stream. So it does take time, because it doesn't come out of the hours when I'm working, right? It comes out of the hours when I would be, sitting back and watching Netflix or Amazon Prime Video. So
basically any free time that you have is gone when you have to, when you want to stream instead.
I mean, my free time is basically, I do a lot of exercise. I'm actually training for a full Ironman. Which we should talk about later. We should talk about that, because I want to throw out for anybody listening, a challenge I have for that. But ask me about that in a sec.
We'll do that after this. Yeah.
So I exercise a lot. My family's important to me, so I always make sure I spend time with them. And then I stream, and then I work. And I kind of don't do anything else. I don't sit there. And I read before going to bed, but there are so many good TV shows that I haven't seen, but I'm happy. I like working hard. I think that's that's just like, I can keep doing this. I'm 60 and I don't feel any need to stop doing this anytime soon, because I'm like, why would I stop? It's fun.
To summarize pretty much everything that you just said, or to back that up, so many people ask me, what's the key to streaming, man? I've streaming for X amount of years or whatever, whatever the story may be, it usually always has kind of like the same effect, right? Where it's like, I've been streaming for a long time and I don't have any viewers. What do I do? The simply put, right? If you're not having fun, well, first off, you have to have the aptitude to do it, is what you said. You have to just have something about you, right? There has to be something interesting. You have to be, a certain level of charisma where you can, interact with the chat and be creative and think on your feet. But that, and again, one of the small things I always say is did you have to have fun, bro? If you're not having fun doing what you're doing, no one else is going to watch you and have more fun than what you're having, right?
Yep.
It's very, I've seen people just sit there on their phones and they have terrible lighting, and the only light on the screen from their webcam is from the monitor, right? And they're on their phone the entire time. I feel like a lot of the times it's people like that are like, why don't I have any viewers? It's well, there's a lot of reasons, man, and it definitely is a lot of work. Going back, I mean, dude, the Ironman, isn't that 50 miles? Isn't that a 50-mile, 200-mile?
So it's 2.4 miles swim, 112 miles bike, and a 26-mile run. I did 2 of them before COVID, and I'm not an endurance. For those people hearing this, most people grew up and they were an endurance athlete running their whole life. I didn't start running regularly till 18 months before the first time I did it. I hadn't done one since COVID, and I think one thing I'm very aware of is like regular exercise is critical to longevity, and that's all the evidence supports this, that if you want to be healthy for a long time and active, make sure you exercise. Yeah. And so I decided to get back into it. I said I'd do a half Ironman, and I wasn't sure if I was going to commit to the full Ironman. And then I came up and I made the decision, because I already have some streamers joining me in September in Wisconsin. And
for the Ironman?
For the half Ironman.
Okay.
And for the full Ironman, I've decided I'm creating what I call the Streamer Man and the Streamer Woman Award. And that is the streamer, the male and female streamer who beats me by the largest margin. Because, in fact, I'm slow. I'm also 60, right? And my secret is I'm not just old, I'm slow also. And I'm going to donate $1,000 to charity for each of them, whatever charity they choose. And then I'm going to do the half Streamer Man for the half Ironman. And so I'm doing a half Ironman in September in Wisconsin, and then I'm doing a full in November in Arizona. And I know at least Miz has suggested he'll do the full with me. I'm going to be pushing Ludwig to do it, because he's running a marathon soon. So anyone who's interested in join, because it should be fun.
Oh my goodness, dude. I have been on my fitness journey the last couple of years since since moving to Florida. It's almost impossible to not be energetic and motivated when you're down here. Just everyone's walking around, right? Like they're running, jogging, biking. People are at the gym. And it's so beautiful out almost all the time. So, there's a lot of incentives to want to just get out there and actually be active. But dude, when it comes to marathons, dude,
I will tell you,
2 miles
although I'll say this, Tyler, I will tell this if you're tempted. So the one I'm doing, the half, I bet you without a doubt you could do the half. The swim isn't an issue, and it's in Wisconsin, so it's not that far for all your Michigan. It's not that far
from my other house, yeah.
From your other house, and to get a bunch of your family to come up and watch. The other thing you can do is you can do a relay where you get one of your. I think you have brothers, right?
Yeah, I got 2 older brothers.
You can get one of your brothers to do one of the leg or something like that, or a nephew or something. So you should think about it.
All right. I listen, I will promise you that I will think about it. I'll definitely, the first thing I do after this is I'll probably tell Jess about it.
Yeah, the thing I've realized by doing it is, in fact, between them, I was still exercising. Mm-hmm. But when I exercise without a goal, over time, it just makes it harder, and I don't do it as much because I know I should exercise, but I don't have something that's driving me, and then I get busy. And so I would run at least 10 miles a week, but I wouldn't train. And I was just slowly getting back in not as good a shape. And having a goal, like doing a half Ironman, it's suddenly it changes the psychology, and you focus and you exercise more because you have a purpose.
No, I get it. I have a huge issue personally with running because I used to have to do it. I played soccer, and my least favorite thing I loved when the ball was in front of me, dude. Or I had to chase someone down, or I had to catch a pet, whatever. I loved it. I could sprint forever and I could run forever. I almost had unlimited energy. But when you put me on a track. And my coach was like, Tyler, run around, run a mile, dude. You want to talk about a goal, dude? I'm sitting here, all I see is a circle. I'm like, F this, dude. I do not want to do this.
That is the way I was, because off and on, I did a lot of ball sports, played basketball, and I would run, and then, after 3 months, I was like, I hate this. On the Ironman and the half Ironman, you don't run the whole way unless you're really good. So I run for 3 minutes, walk for 2 minutes when I run the full, and I'll run the half. The other thing I realized was so often we don't understand how to run. And when we run at this medium hard pace where you're just unhappy the whole time.
Yeah.
And
true.
The right way to run is either you do intervals where you sprint for 150 yards and then you walk. Okay. And then you sprint and then you walk because you're feeling all the pumping when you're running, and then you walk, right? or you go at a slow pace that is not like pushing it. And that's actually the best way to train. But most people, when they jog, they run at something where they're just miserable for 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's actually pretty much me. And I or at least whenever I did not train, but whenever I did run and I exercise, that's pretty much what it was. I'll try that out, man. I'll try that out because I'm at the gym pretty much 4 times out of the week. So, and I usually hit the treadmill right now. I walk like 2 miles, anywhere from 1 to 2 miles at like a 3.5 mile per hour pace at an incline is where like I've found my nice little sweet spot.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, I could sit here and talk to you for about 5 hours, but I don't want to keep you all night. So we're going to move on to the final segment, which is just this or that and some other questions. And, dude, we'll get you on your way, man. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, man, no, I'm not going to read this first. So I don't put these together. Okay, I'm just going to say it for the memes. It says Twitch or Kick?
Twitch.
Aliens, are they real or not? We talked about this at dinner.
No.
But no.
Well, aliens are not visiting Earth.
Okay.
Because I have to I know this is this or that, but I have to tell you my model is I believe there might be intelligent life elsewhere, okay? But if intelligent life was visiting Earth because they had warp speed and all that, this idea that they would all collaborate to say, they would travel 1,000 years to get to Earth, and then they would say, guys, don't let them know you're here. Whatever you do, don't let them know you're here. Okay, and one of them wouldn't say, fuck that. I'm going to go tell them that I'm here. I'm going to go down to the middle of Times Square. I was on this planet. It's been 1,000 years. There's just no way that wouldn't happen. And this wouldn't have happened throughout history where we just had aliens appearing in the middle of, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
This idea they're hiding from us. Would we hide? Suppose, who here would hide if they traveled to another planet and go, shh, don't let them know you're here.
Yeah, I imagine the first thing that we would do is immediately try to get in contact, right?
Yes.
And develop some sort of, peace treaty, whatever, like figure out like what their planet's like. And I totally agree. I agree, man. There's all this noise. I'm not going to get into the government. I'm not going to get into distracting. Okay. Let's keep it simple, dude. Basketball or football?
Basketball.
I've been getting into basketball a lot too.
I know
recently,
the Lions almost got
God,
close,
dude,
but I'm a Niner fan, so I was glad. But
wow!
But I will say this: I wanted if the Niners weren't going to win the Super Bowl, I wanted it to be Detroit because I'm from New Orleans, and so I know what you feel because I grew up when New Orleans was horrible. And so I know the pain you feel of having been a Detroit fan. A New Orleans fan is like the only other group that knows it as bad as Detroit.
You guys also got screwed the other year out of the most ridiculous PI call that never got called.
Yeah.
NASA or SpaceX?
Now SpaceX.
Yeah. All right. This isn't on here, but I'm gonna. Would you sign up? Let's say Elon next 5-10 years, dude. He has just some crazy breakthrough. We're going to Mars consistently. We found a way to get there quickly or quick enough where it's not like a 2-year or whatever how long trip, and it's safe-ish. Would you go, dude?
I care too much about the kids and my family and everything else. I'm like, I can't take 2 years away from my family and my kids and the people I care about.
True. Honestly, I think that was a perfect answer. All right, the other questions, man. If you could visit any planet, let's just say light speed, traveling at the speed of light exists, so it wouldn't be a crazy journey. If you could visit any planet, which would it be and why?
Oh, well, and you have to go faster than the speed of light. I don't know the name of the planet, but I want to, visit a planet where we know life could exist.
Best concert of all time, or I guess best concert that you've been to?
Oh, God, I've been to a lot of concerts. So, of all time. Okay, if I have to pick all time, I'm a big Zach Bryan fan. I've seen him a few times, but they've all been big. I would pick Bruce Springsteen when he was touring with, he did this like bluegrassy, I forget the name of the album, and that would be it.
All right, dude, if you had to delete all but 3 applications from your phone, which ones would you keep and why? And Gmail is not one of them. You have to download it from the App Store, but you have a mail.
Same thing, meaning, let's see, WhatsApp, it's not default installed. It is a messaging app, but it's not default installed. So I think WhatsApp counts. Well, Twitch.
Hey, come on, dude. I was waiting for that one.
Okay, that give me a softball. And then the thing that is popping into my mind, I guess it'd be Instagram. I probably use that more.
I'm shocked, bro. It doesn't do it for me. I don't know.
It didn't for me for a long time. Interesting, I wasn't a Twitter user. Now I use Twitter a lot more, and I was a little torn with creators. I use Twitter a lot, but like with the family, a lot of them post on Instagram. But I understand why it doesn't get them.
Mm-hmm. All right, final question, Dan. This podcast is called AFK with Ninja. AFK obviously stands for away from keyboard. For those of you who don't know what that means, if you live under a rock, Dan, in your own words, define AFK, dude. What do you do when you're AFK and you need to get away, dude?
I'm in nature. I one thing that I think I do a lot of if I have to pick an activity, I'd pick whitewater kayaking. I love it.
You look like a whitewater kayaking kind of guy.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's a blast. It gives you a rush, but, you're right there with the water. You're right there with nature. It's like skiing on water, or snowboarding on water. So I'd pick whitewater kayaking.
Dude, that's all it's not all I got, but that's all I have for now. Dan, thank you for taking the time to be here, man. I appreciate your time is precious, and thank you for spending it with us.
It's fun, Tyler. Thanks for asking me, and looking forward to when I see you again.
And there you have it, folks. We've reached the end of another epic AFK with Ninja episode. If you've enjoyed the journey thus far, please consider leaving a rating, review, and hitting that follow button. We have a ton of incredible guests coming your way, and I want you to be the first to know when a new episode drops. Until next time, catch you soon.
It's AFK with Ninja. Ninja's got a show. It's AFK with Ninja, the best podcast in the world.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. In fact, Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/podcast free. All lowercase, shopify.com/podcast free, shopify.com/podcast free.